Hi and welcome to this week's edition of Weekly Rotation, the pens that I'm currently using. Last week I had the Lamy versus Pilot week, which was actually really interesting, and I sort of came to understand a few things about the pens that I've been using or not using, like the Pereira, which I think is probably more or less going to stay out of rotation from here out. This week I'm trying to work through the pens I've got inked up as I'm going away for work in a week or so, and would really like to have them emptied and cleaned sort of by the time I go. So a few of the pens are the same and a few of the pens are slightly different, including switching inks in a couple of them, but we'll sort of see how we go. First thing I wanted to do was show something that my latest ink purchase, which isn't overly exciting, but it's the Waterman Serenity Blue, which it's one of those inks that everyone sort of should have. It's a really good workhorse blue. It's actually a really nice little bit of sheen on it as well, which I find quite interesting. But it's a beautiful shade of that sort of royal blue. I think it used to be called Florida Blue, but that was before my time with fountain pens, so Serenity Blue it is. This is inked up in a pen at the moment, and I really like it. But let's start with the pens, and we'll start with the Lamys. So, as you would have seen last week and previous few weeks, I've still got the Lamy Safari Neon Lime inked up with the Mont Blanc Irish Green ink. It matches beautifully with my bullet journal as well that I'm using. So, yeah, I can't recommend this pen or this ink enough. It's just a really nice sort of workhorse pen, the Safari. You know, it's known for that and people love it, and I do too. Now these two were inked up with a couple of inks last week, and I've actually switched them around. I recently got, I wasn't happy with the broad nib that I had on the Safari charcoal. So I bought one of the two-tone ones for the Lux or the LX Lamy, and I thought it actually matched better on the All-Star. So I swapped the All-Star to be the inks that I'm reviewing, and the charcoal is now my sort of everyday writer. So the Lamy Safari charcoal now has a fine nib, but I've now moved to Aurora Black for this cycle, and I really love this ink. Great black ink. Okay, and then the Lamy All-Star with the broad nib. And this is the black model, of course. And this is inked with the incredible Robert Oster Tranquility. This ink is awesome. I really, really love it. I'm working on the review at the moment, and I'm actually just having a lot of fun reviewing this ink. It's beautiful, and on the right paper you get great sheen, and it's just a beautiful ink. So I'm really, really impressed and really happy. Now we'll move to probably what is the most expensive pen, although I got this second hand that I've got inked up at the moment. And this is the Sailor 1911. It's a standard, so it's a smaller model, and I've got this inked up with a music nib, which is quite interesting. I'll just quickly write this out. So we've got Sailor 1911 standard in a music nib, and the ink I've got in this is kind of a Sailor pen without it being inked up with Sailor ink. So it's Sailor, and it's the Yama-Dori. Now what makes the music nib so interesting is the variation between the downstrokes and the across strokes. So you get quite a wide downstroke and quite a narrow across stroke. So you can imagine if you're writing music notation, which I do a lot, you can get sort of nice, easy, thin lines and thick lines depending on what your need is for writing. You know, it gives you nice, very natural variation without having to flex or anything like that. So I really, really like that pen, and while I'm not a huge fan of the Yama-Dori ink, it is nice with some of that sheen that comes through. And because this is quite a broad pen, lays down quite a lot of ink, it does sheen quite readily. Next we have the Waterman ink that I mentioned before, and this is inked up in one of my favourite pens, the TWSBI Eco, which is affordable. It writes easily. It's got a really nice medium nib. It's quite wet. It may not have the same sort of flair as some of the more expensive TWSBI pens, but I think it's got a great look, and I just love the demonstrator with the piston. I think it's a very, very cool pen, and to think that, you know, it retails for between $30 and $50 depending on where you get it. It's cheaper than Safari, and it's a really, really lovely pen. If they made interchangeable nibs without having to buy another pen, that would be awesome. That would be my thing for TWSBI. Make nib sections for that pen. Now, at the moment, my carry pen. Now, this is one that has been causing a bit of stir on the internet at the moment. It's a pen that sort of came out of the blue, I think. It looks a lot like the Sailor 1911, which is obviously clearly modelled off, from a brand that does happen to model a lot of pens off other pens. This is a Jinhao. This is the 992, obviously the blue demonstrator model. Cartridge converter pen, nice, you know, simple pen, little, probably around about number 5 nib, I think, or thereabouts. But what's really interesting about this pen is just how lovely it is to write with. It says it's a fine, but it's actually quite a broad fine. Like, it's close to the TWSBI medium, really. At the moment, I have this inked up with another Robert Oster ink, the Robert Oster Dark Star Blue, which comes with the Dark Star Traveler's Notebook, which is a really interesting, I've got the dot grid, sort of pocket notebook, lovely embossed sort of logos and stuff. A review of these coming out, which I'll partner with the ink. I'll also be reviewing the Waterman ink. I think I quite like it, and I think it's worth having a good look at. But yeah, so watch out for these. So these are the 6 pens I've currently got inked. I'm trying to keep it down to as few pens as possible, particularly at the moment as I'm going away. And so I'd like to, yeah, as I said, go away with only a couple of pens in my case, and have all the rest sort of be nice and clean, sitting waiting for me when I come home. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to keep up to date with what I produce. Please feel free to send me a message with any questions or products you'd like me to look at, and please don't hesitate to get in touch. It's always nice to sort of be in touch with the other people in the fountain pen community. So in the meantime, enjoy your pens, keep writing, and I'll see you later.